So, I've been using the Huawei Mate 20 Pro as my main phone for just over a week now, and there's a lot of cool stuff here. You've got the in-display fingerprint scanner, you've got a speaker built behind the USB-C port, you've got that twilight gradient, you don't get that on many phones. But that's all kind of on the surface stuff, and now having used it for a little longer, there are 10 things that have particularly surprised me or impressed me. So let's get into that. Number 1 is easy projection, a feature that is now built into EMUI 9. And to be honest, it's a bit of an understatement. With literally 3 taps, you can wirelessly mirror your phone's display onto your TV. Or what I think is even cooler, create an Android desktop where you could pull up Netflix, YouTube, or just browse photos. In most cases, to do something like this, you'd either need a dedicated phone station, a cable, or at least a wireless HDMI adapter, but not with this phone. Number 2 is the frame. So I've actually been using the Galaxy Note 9 for quite a few months before I switched over to this phone, and I've been surprised at how compact it feels. It's not mini, but compared to that phone, the display is similar in size, yet the body is smaller in every dimension, and lighter. Number 3 is speed, and to be honest, Android has been pretty fast for a while now, with smooth animations and silky scrolling. But when I switched over to the Mate 20 Pro, there's a certain instantaneousness that you get used to, especially with first-party apps, and a lot of other Android devices that previously seemed fine now start to seem a little sluggish. Magazine unlock. Every time you unlock the phone, you have a different wallpaper. And the phone pulls them from a whole bunch of different sources, but they are consistently high quality. It's a really simple way of keeping your phone feeling fresh, and if you ever particularly like a wallpaper, you just swipe it from the bottom and lock it until you fancy a change again. Number 5 is the ultra-wide camera. And I've never used a phone with an ultra-wide lens as my main device before, but even after such a short period of time, I can safely say that it's not a gimmick, because it's genuinely useful. I can say now that ultra-wide is how I'm going to shoot my street view shots, tall buildings, and pretty much every landmark I see on holiday. But it's also useful in an everyday situation. If I wanted to show you guys my room setup, this ultra-wide will capture it much better than the camera gear I use for filming videos. Leading on from this is the camera modes. Ever since Huawei partnered with Leica, they've really changed things, and this time around especially, in terms of flexibility. Something I've been really enjoying is finding myself in a new situation, and then finding a camera mode that does it justice. For example, finding a really peaceful, quiet setting, and getting some native 21:9 cinematic video of it. Or, something I found really cool, is the splash color mode, where you tap on a color in a shot, and only this is highlighted, making the rest of the image monochrome. Number 7 is something called App Lock. Say you have an application that you want to stay logged in for convenience, but at the same time is important to protect. Well, App Lock lets you lock that app. So for me, when someone taps on Instagram, it'll only open the app if it detects either my face or my fingerprint. And it's not really an inconvenience because you're looking at your screen anyway, so you barely notice the face scan happening. Wireless reverse charging. And you've probably heard about this before, it's one of the flagship features of the phone, and basically it makes you the hero in any group situation. And in some cases has made me more comfortable leaving the house without a power bank, because I know that if one device runs out, I've still got the Mate 20 Pro as a backup. Number 9 is charging speed, and in terms of milliamp hours per minute, this is pretty much the fastest charging phone on the planet. If you've seen my battery charging test, that might reinforce just how fast it is. We're talking like a 60% charge in 30 minutes time, and then factor in that 60% on this battery is enough for a pretty heavy day. And that leads me on to the last thing, which is battery life, which has surprised me because I was already expecting it to be good, but as it turns out, it is completely nuts. A combination of the 4200 mAh capacity, the latest Android Pie, a more efficient 7nm chip, and the optimizations in MUI 9 give it more endurance than I've ever had on a phone. I regularly go to bed with the device still on 40% charge. In fact, if you let it, the device will even dynamically change its resolution on the go to save even more battery, but personally I just keep it locked at 1080p. So yeah, so far really enjoying the phone, but as you can probably imagine, it's gonna be a bit more time before I can get out a full review, just because there is so much going on here. In fact, there's probably more to this device than any other phone I've ever used in the past, front and back. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.